Ladies and gentlemen, today we gather here to talk about something that touches every one of us. We live in a world where battles are not always fought on open fields, but often in the quiet corners of our homes, in the company we keep, and in the hearts of those we trust. There is a struggle beyond what our eyes can see, a battle between light and darkness. And many times we don't recognize it until it's too late. There are forces at work that seek to divide, to destroy, and to turn love into hatred, joy into sorrow, and peace into chaos. Sometimes these forces don't come as strangers or enemies from the outside. They come disguised as friends, as family, as those closest to us. They speak with words that sound familiar. They move with kindness that seems real, but deep within there is a presence that does not belong to the light. The world is filled with distractions, and in these distractions, darkness finds its way into the hearts of people. It works in whispers, in small compromises, in moments where truth is traded for convenience. And if we do not open our eyes, if we do not stand firm, we may find ourselves surrounded by the very forces that seek to pull us away from the path of righteousness. But there is a way to see. There is a way to recognize, to discern, to understand when something is not right. There are signs, warnings, and truths that cannot be hidden forever. And when we learn to see, we learn to protect, to guard, and to stand strong. Today we are going to talk about that, about how to spot the unseen battle in the hearts of those around us and how to stand firm against it. Life is not just a series of random events. It is a battlefield where forces of good and evil constantly struggle for influence. This battle is not fought with swords and shields, but with thoughts, actions, and choices. It takes place in our homes, in our friendships, and even in our own hearts. The sooner we recognize this unseen war, the better we can protect ourselves and those we love. The first step in spotting darkness in the people around us is to understand that evil does not always appear as something terrifying. In fact, it often disguises itself in what seems familiar, comforting, or even appealing. Negative influences can come through people we trust, friends who constantly push us toward negativity, family members who drain our energy with manipulation, or individuals who encourage us to compromise our morals. The darkness does not always show itself in obvious ways. Sometimes it creeps in slowly, unnoticed, until it has a firm grip on our lives. One of the clearest signs of this spiritual battle is the presence of chaos. When a person's influence brings confusion, fear, or constant conflict into your life, you must ask yourself where it is coming from. Darkness thrives in disorder. It seeks to separate, to isolate, to turn people against one another. If you notice that someone around you is always stirring up tension, planting seeds of doubt, or leading others into destructive behavior, this could be a sign that something deeper is at work. Another major indicator is deception. The forces of darkness operate through lies, half-truths, twisted words, and broken promises. A friend or family member who constantly manipulates, hides their true intentions, or leads others into deceitful behavior may be under the influence of something beyond just personal flaws. When truth is compromised, when honesty is replaced with deception, when someone refuses to take accountability for their actions, these are signs that darkness has taken root. Furthermore, a person who constantly drains your spirit may be carrying an unseen weight of negativity. Pay attention to how you feel after spending time with certain people. Do you feel encouraged, uplifted, and motivated, or do you feel exhausted, defeated, and lost? Those who carry darkness will often leave you feeling empty and burdened. They feed off the energy of others, pulling them into their misery, anger, or hatred. However, recognizing this battle is not about condemning others, but about being aware. Many times those who carry darkness don't even realize it. They are trapped, lost, or wounded in ways we cannot see. The key is not to fear them, but to stand firm in the light. The stronger your connection to truth, to wisdom, and to righteousness, the easier it will be to identify when something unright. The battle between light and darkness is real, but so is the power of those who choose to stand on the side of truth. By recognizing the signs, staying grounded in wisdom, and refusing to be pulled into negativity, you can protect yourself and help guide others toward the path of righteousness. Darkness does not always announce itself openly. It works in subtle ways, creeping into the hearts of people until it completely consumes them. If we are not careful, we may fail to recognize when someone close to us is under the influence of negativity, manipulation, or even an unseen force that seeks to destroy. Understanding the hidden signs of a corrupted spirit is crucial if we want to protect ourselves and others from falling into its trap. One of the most common signs of a corrupted spirit is a deep sense of bitterness. People who are consumed by darkness often hold on to grudges, resentment, and unforgiveness. Instead of seeking peace, they thrive on conflict. They remind others of past mistakes, stir up old wounds, and never allow healing to take place. A person filled with darkness finds joy in the suffering of others and refuses to let go of anger. They carry negativity wherever they go, poisoning relationships and destroying trust. Another sign is deception. People under the influence of darkness will constantly twist the truth. They lie effortlessly, manipulate situations to their advantage, and create false narratives to control others. These individuals often appear charming or convincing, but behind their words there is always an agenda. They may pretend to care while secretly working to bring others down. Their words do not match their actions, and over time their dishonesty becomes clear to those who are paying attention. A corrupted spirit also reveals itself through an unquenchable thirst for power and control. These individuals do not seek relationships based on love and respect. They seek dominance. They want others to follow their commands without question, and they react aggressively when challenged. Their need for control often leads to manipulation, emotional abuse, and even physical harm. They do not value the opinions or feelings of others, and their decisions are based on selfish desires rather than truth or justice. Another major warning sign is a lack of empathy. A person who has fallen into darkness loses the ability to feel compassion for others. They become cold, indifferent, and sometimes even cruel. They do not care who they hurt as long as they achieve their goals. If someone is suffering, instead of offering help or support, they either ignore them or take pleasure in their pain. They justify their actions, blaming others instead of taking responsibility for the harm they cause. Lastly, a corrupted spirit often isolates itself from goodness. People who are consumed by darkness will avoid anything that challenges their way of thinking. They may distance themselves from family members who speak the truth, reject wise counsel, and surround themselves only with those who encourage their destructive behavior. They are uncomfortable in places where truth and righteousness exist because the darkness within them cannot stand the presence of light. Recognizing these signs does not mean we should immediately cut people off or condemn them. Instead, it is a call to be cautious, to pray for discernment, and to guard our hearts. Sometimes those who are lost in darkness need a guiding light to bring them back. But we must be careful not to let their darkness pull us down. Instead, we must stand firm in wisdom, seek truth, and always choose the path of righteousness. Negative influences do not always come with a warning sign. They often appear in the form of trusted friends, close family members, or even respected individuals in our lives. Their words may sound wise, their actions may seem kind, but beneath the surface there is an agenda, a hidden force working to control, mislead, and pull others into darkness. Understanding how manipulation and deception operate is the key to protecting ourselves from their influence. One of the most common tactics used by negative individuals is emotional manipulation. They play with people's feelings to get what they want. This can take the form of guilt tripping, where they make you feel responsible for their happiness or failures. They may say things like, "After all I've done for you, this is how you treat me?" Or, "If you really cared about me, you would do this." By making others feel guilty, they shift the focus away from their own toxic behavior and make others question themselves. Another deceptive method is playing the victim. Some people never take responsibility for their actions. Instead, they always blame others. They create sob stories to gain sympathy and use their pain as a tool to manipulate. If they hurt someone, they will quickly turn the situation around and make it seem like they are the ones who have been wrong. They use their suffering to justify their toxic behavior, making it difficult for others to hold them accountable. Gaslighting is another powerful tool of deception. This is when a person twists reality to make others doubt their own judgment and perception. They may deny things they clearly said or did, make others feel crazy for questioning them, or distort facts to make themselves look innocent. Over time, gaslighting can make a person feel lost, confused, and completely dependent on the manipulator for a sense of truth. Negative influences also work through division and isolation. They plant seeds of doubt in relationships, creating mistrust and separation between friends and family members. They spread rumors, twist conversations, and turn people against one another. Their goal is to break unity, because isolated individuals are easier to control. If someone in your life constantly talks badly about others, stirs up drama, or tries to turn you against your loved ones, be careful. They may be a source of deception. Another way manipulation works is through false kindness and flattery. Some people shower others with compliments, gifts, or fake concern, but their kindness is conditional. The moment you refuse to do what they want, their attitude changes. They may turn cold, aggressive, or even start spreading lies about you. Their kindness was never real. It was just a tool to gain control. The best defense against manipulation and deception is discernment. Pay attention to patterns, not just words. Trust your instincts when something feels off. Stay grounded in truth. Seek wisdom, and never let fear or guilt force you into decisions that go against your values. Negative influences will always try to deceive, but those who stand in truth cannot be easily shaken. In a world filled with deception, negativity, and manipulation, standing firm requires more than just intelligence or experience. It requires spiritual strength. Darkness works subtly, influencing people's thoughts, emotions, and decisions in ways they do not always recognize. Without a strong foundation, even the most well-intentioned individuals can fall into its trap. That is why it is essential to build a deep and unwavering inner strength that allows us to resist manipulation, recognize falsehoods, and walk in truth. The first step in building spiritual strength is knowing who you are and what you stand for. People who are uncertain about their values and beliefs are the easiest to manipulate. If you do not have clear boundaries, others will set them for you. If you do not know the truth, others will feed you lies. Strength comes from having a firm foundation, knowing what is right, what is wrong, and refusing to compromise on what truly matters. Another crucial aspect is guarding your mind and heart. The world is full of voices. Some will inspire you, while others will lead you astray. Be mindful of what you allow into your life. Negative influences often creep in through media, toxic relationships, and even casual conversation. If you constantly surround yourself with negativity, over time it will shape your thoughts and weaken your resolve. Choose wisely what you read, watch, and listen to. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, challenge you to be better, and encourage you to stay true to your principles. Developing discernment is another key element of spiritual strength. Not everyone who smiles at you is a friend, and not everyone who disagrees with you is an enemy. True wisdom comes from being able to see beyond words and actions, recognizing the true intentions behind them. Pay attention to patterns, trust your intuition, and never ignore the small warnings that something may not be right. The more you practice discernment, the harder it will be for deception to take root in your life. One of the greatest weapons against negativity is inner peace. Darkness thrives in chaos, fear, and confusion. If someone can control your emotions, they can control your decisions. But when you develop a deep sense of peace, one that does not depend on circumstances or people, you become unshakable. No matter what others say or do, no matter how much manipulation or negativity surrounds you, your spirit remains strong and unbreakable. Finally, true strength is not just about protecting yourself, it is also about helping others. When you build spiritual strength, you become a guiding light for those who are lost. Instead of being dragged down by darkness, you have the power to pull others into the light. Strength is not just about resisting evil. It is about transforming the world around you through truth, love, and unwavering conviction. In the end, building spiritual strength is a journey. It requires daily commitment, self-awareness, and the courage to stand alone if necessary. But those who cultivate it will never be easily deceived, shaken, or controlled. They will walk with confidence, recognizing darkness for what it is and standing firm in the power of truth. Darkness exists in many forms, through deception, manipulation, negativity, and destructive influences. It can creep into relationships, families, and even our own minds if we are not careful. But no matter how powerful it may seem, darkness can never stand against truth and wisdom. The key to overcoming it is not through fear or aggression, but through clarity, discernment, and a firm commitment to what is right. The first and most important weapon against darkness is truth. Lies and deceit thrive in secrecy, but truth exposes them. Many people fall victim to manipulation simply because they do not seek or speak the truth. A person who lives in truth cannot be easily deceived. This means being honest with yourself about who you are, what you stand for, and what is happening around you. It means refusing to ignore red flags in relationships and standing up against falsehoods, even when it is uncomfortable. Truth brings freedom because it removes the power that deception holds over people. However, truth alone is not enough. It must be accompanied by wisdom. Knowing the truth is one thing, but knowing how to act upon it is another. Some battles require direct confrontation, while others require patience and strategy. Wisdom teaches us when to speak and when to stay silent, when to walk away and when to stand our ground. It helps us recognize when someone is open to change and when they are simply trying to manipulate us further. Those who act without wisdom often fall into unnecessary conflicts or get drawn into traps set by negative influences. Another essential aspect of overcoming darkness is self-control. Manipulative and toxic people thrive on emotional reactions. They will try to provoke anger, fear, guilt, or confusion because these emotions make it easier to control others. When you remain calm and unshaken, you take away their power. Responding to negativity with patience and clarity instead of reacting with frustration or rage is a sign of true strength. A wise person does not allow others to dictate their emotions or decisions. Surrounding yourself with like-minded, positive individuals is also crucial. Darkness isolates people, making them feel alone and vulnerable. But when you have strong, supportive people around you who encourage truth and wisdom, you become much harder to deceive or manipulate. Good company strengthens your resolve, keeps you accountable, and reminds you of what truly matters. Finally, one of the greatest ways to defeat darkness is through leading by example. Instead of fighting negativity with more negativity, show the power of truth and wisdom through your actions. Be a person of integrity, honesty, and kindness. Let others see that standing in truth leads to a life of peace, strength, and fulfillment. Sometimes the best way to change the world around us is not through words, but through the way we live. Overcoming darkness is not about overpowering it, it is about outlasting it. Truth and wisdom do not just fight against deception, they dissolve it. When you stand in light, darkness loses its hold, and in the end it is always truth that prevails. In the end, darkness only holds power over those who allow it. The key to overcoming it is standing firm in truth, wisdom, and inner strength. Recognize the hidden signs, guard your heart, and refuse to be manipulated by deception. Choose light over fear, clarity over confusion, and integrity over compromise. Surround yourself with those who uplift and strengthen you, and most importantly, be a beacon of truth for others. When you walk in wisdom, darkness loses its grip. No matter how strong the storm, light always prevails. Stand firm, stay vigilant, and never let darkness define your path.